Sometimes, when you want to come up with a solution, sometimes, if it's never been done before, then maybe it needs a new kind of thought. Sometimes you really have to go new and test it. And I'd like to say, yeah, we're always successful, but really we know what our rate of success and failure is. 1 out of every 5 ideas in the laboratory will make it through. So I know that I will have to go through 4 failures, 4 testing, and a lot of time before I find something that works. But if it works, it changes everything. Have you ever heard that thing? It changes everything. And that's what I like, because a lot of these women that I just showed you before, there's a lot of washing areas now that use this, and a lot of schools now are being built cheaply, even without us. And it changes everything. I mean, in the vegan area, vegan is known for tiles, but it's also known for a growing amount of storms hitting them. So a lot of their roofs are being blown off. And they cannot, especially in the highlands, they cannot keep on bringing welding equipment up there. So what we did was we changed it from flooring and walling, and we started getting inspiration from eggs. Have you ever put an egg between your hand and you tried to crush it? But it's the same thing with this one. It's paper thin. I don't want to say paper thin, but it's about 5 inches, 4 inches. And it's about 3 bricks. And basically, we slowly come in, spirally, we keep on building. One is horizontal, one diagonal, one vertical. And you can create roof lines that are from there to here in a circle. So we still use soil for the walls, but we can use now bricks to be able to build. And you don't need to weld. If you look at inside this, you'll see a lot of structures, like metal welding to put it together. This one, none. Just compresses strength. So if it's never done before, that means maybe it takes a new idea to make it happen. Then of course we waterproof it, and these are the clinics that we built up north. So all of these things, come with serious research. A lot of the times I'm in a lab coat, we do compression tests, we mess around with our family's houses. Not really. When they see us look at the roof and they say, what are you thinking of? Are you gonna put a hole on it? Or anyway, so we test it out on our own houses as well. But some of it changes. We started using bamboo because you can't dig holes in the flatlands, because if you build a house, you'll be basically doing ponds and so what we do is we harvest bamboo within kilometers of the school. And the nice thing there is the bamboo fields become replaceable parts. So in case it breaks, you can always go to the farmer and buy bamboo. So instead of going to hardware stores where you have to pay in cash, you always have to buy cement, you always got to have somebody, a specialist to do it. Bamboos, which are really small, are the ways we're rebuilding schools now in Camarines Sur. So they're not small. If you build them with indigenous materials. Have you seen like a walis ting? In English, it's walis. One piece it breaks, but together it's very flexible. Same thing with bamboo. We always tie it together in bunches, especially you see this one. And so this makes it resistant up to 250 to 300 km/h winds. So very flexible, and if it breaks, of course, you can always replace it. And then we treat it with we've learned traditional ways that Japanese and Chinese have preserved the bamboo, and it's lasted hundreds of years as well. So we come up with great schools, and they're bigger. They look like small little auditoriums. They're actually almost as big as this. It's really about it's not about just research. It's about dreaming of a better world for us, and we're very excited because now we've gotten into the process of really believing that it just takes a little more time to make a difference. This is something that we've been doing just recently, just about a year, and this happened because of Ondoy. Everybody knows Ondoy? That actually destroyed 2,700 schools in a couple of days. schools. Imagine, it's taken so long to build the schools, and then in one storm, 2,700 classrooms were destroyed. And you know what? You know why? Because a lot of the areas that were on higher land that was used for residential or houses, but the Department of Education, many of them, they bought land that was cheap. And you know why it was cheap? It's because it was in disaster areas or lower areas. So the rule of thumb now is half of all public schools. That's a serious number. Almost half of all public schools are in disaster areas. So there's only two things that's going to happen. One is we're going to have to keep on repairing it or build something stronger. And the second one is we're going to have to eventually move the stuff. So we wanted to say again, how can we move a problem into a solution? And so one of the biggest problems basically that caused the flooding was garbage bags. This takes about 10 to 20 years to decompose. Cans, it takes 80 to 100 years. Aluminum cans, 500 years. Glass bottle, 1,000 years. And guess what? Your plastic bottle that you take, 5 minutes to drink? We really don't know how long. I mean, scientifically, we don't know how long that's going to take. It's about more than 1,000 years. So it's a serious, you can reuse it, but eventually a lot of it goes underground. You could see there's recycling on it, but I was talking with one of the largest recyclers. They had to close their plants down because a lot of the bottling companies just wanted to use fresh, pure plastic pellets. So really there is no recycling happening in the countries for plastic bottles. The other thing there is we trash them and then only 5% goes to China. So a lot of our provinces are actually sinking in plastic bottles. And so what we wanted to do was basically use that plastic bottle, but not, just separate it. We wanted to have a new life for it and move it out of the trash heap. And so what we took the plastic bottles, basically a liter, 1.5 liters, and we filled it up with the soil that we discovered with the adobe brick. And we started getting volunteers. And we started putting more and more, and because it dried so quickly and it was tough, each of these things you can run over with a 10-wheeler truck. And we started tying them and piling them into walls, and then piling them into houses. And in fact, again. So we built houses out of it. We built houses out of them. And the nice thing there is, do you know how much supply of plastic bottles we get? Unlimited. So the plastic bottles are now our molds. We pour the soil inside. We let women's group or our volunteers put it in, and they become bricks. And so these bricks can do it. And then with the smaller ones, the smaller plastic bottles, we put it on the floor, and then we cover it with cement. We don't need steel bars anymore because the plastic bottle, especially the bottom of the plastic bottle is kind of tough, so that forms the ribs of the so it doesn't crack. And we just pour it, and then guess what this is? Yeah, so these are schools made out of plastic bottles. So we really don't see, a lot of people say reduce, reuse, recycle, but honestly, because of population is growing, the plastic bottles really don't end up all in the garbage dump, almost always. So you need to have some kind of social benefit that they don't throw it away. In a lot of islands, they're actually sinking in this plastic because there is a profit motive, or they make money sending the plastic bottles to the island. But once it's drank or once it's consumed, there's no reason for them to truck it out. So what happens is they bury it, But most commonly, they run out of landfill, they put it in a big bag, and they float it at the back of the island. And this goes into our coral reefs, and just 1,000 years, it's going to end up somewhere. So the second way we're going to do it is called the bottle light. And we want to become the biggest giver of lighting for around the country. It's going to happen this year. We're actually the first school that we're actually talking about it. Because we're also launching it at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. We've lit up for about 150 pesos each house. Will give 5 years free light, and after 5 years you just have to give them 20 pesos to change the water and the chlorine. And basically, every day, every single day, they don't need to spend any more money to light up their houses. Cool? So right now, even though we have sun, it's a tropical country. It's the same thing. What a lot of people do is also because of rain, you see a sea of metal sheet roofs. And the problem with shanty areas is they don't own their land, so they bunch up together really close, like really close. So it doesn't allow light inside. Even though they have windows, it's dark inside. So what we do is we wanted to use plastic bottles which were thrown away and make it into light. Okay, you don't believe me? I'm gonna play a CD of what it looks like on the ground. So there's about 300 houses now. So basically, the funny thing is we've only actually installed 200 lights, but the technology is so simple that the people themselves have copied it and built an extra 100 more. So we're talking about something that's so rapidly changing that people will never have to live in the darkness again. So I'll play for you